The bounty hunters. The whole of the team is seated around a table on the chainbreaker. The chairs are not designed for comfort but entirely utilitarian. This is not a room of rest and consideration but of information and deliberation. The table in question floats off the floor and has many inputs in the side to allow displays of information, with a tiny projector within the center for three-dimensional images. "So, what do we know about the local gang lords?" Pukey asks his team while looking straight at Bike. "Bike?" Mustard asks. "Bike?" The hat and Mr. T add, causing the German man to roll his eyes. "Not much. Suffice to say they don't exactly have want ads in the local paper." He begins. At the groans around the table, he grins further. "However, I have a couple of contacts, mostly drinking buddies. They agree on a few things around the station." "Well, don't keep us in suspense. What's the dirty?" Pukey asks. "The dirty? You mean the dirt?" J3 notes. "Galactic trade doesn't have the inflection I like when you say the dirt. It doesn't imply what I want it to," Pukey remarks. "Now the information, please." There truly are 8 separate groups of criminal warlords around the station, but each and every one of them act very differently. In our usual stomping ground of the nightlife, it's the casino owners. "Which one? There are dozens of casinos." "Yes," Pukey responds and smirks at the glare he gets. "All of them are either in the pocket or directly owned by the same small cabal of women. They are simply the owners. Nothing fancy for a name, but nothing fancy is needed. They have a lot of money to throw around, and all the local business owners are at least partially in their pockets. My contacts aren't much outside the nightlife yet, so I know very little about the others and have even less confirmed. But I do know one more very interesting thing about all 8 groups." Which would be? There's a collective pool of talent they use on the station, a series of highly trained, highly skilled, highly motivated mercenaries that use Octaran Spin as their home, Bike says as he pulls out a data chip. He plugs it in and eyebrows go up as it shows an image of the Hats fight not too long ago. "We've already run into one, sort of. The Crimson Huer clan is less a family and more a philosophy. They're obscenely dangerous, highly mercenary, and often tagged in around the station when leg breaking is the order of the day. It shouldn't be too bad. I've already beaten one," the Hat says with a grin. Then Bike switches the image to show a half-dozen gigantic Amazons in completely covering red and tan power armor, with entire arsenals of weapons along their backs. On their pauldrons is the symbol of a sword smashing into a round shield. Their face-concealing helmets have a sharp V-slit for eyes and jagged patterns to really emphasize the shark-like nature of the Canador. They move in packs. Their armor is rated for spacewalks, grounded too, meaning your taser trick won't work twice. They've got an inbuilt communication network, so they're talking to each other and organizing as they pen in their targets and take them down, Bike explains as he flicks from image to image, showing these women tearing down different style opponents with ambush-packed tactics. This will be a problem. Any known weaknesses to this armor? Pukey asks. If there is one, then they've kept it close to the chest. They've got a standard array of station-approved weaponry for range combat, including cannons integrated into the armor. From what I can tell, the tails work as an aiming device. Bike explains, going on to the next image, which shows a Crimson Huer on all fours with the twin cannons on her back, following the direction of the tail she's using to direct it. When they're on all fours like this, they're more like artillery than a simple ranged opponent. Bangers seem to be the name of the game with these girls, but there are a few that have a third cannon integrated, and that one will be an ablator if you see it. He moves the image of the triple cannon-wielding power-armored Canador to show a series of obscenely lethal-looking swords, spears, maces, hammers, and axes. That's not to say that these girls keep their distance. They like getting in close and finding new patterns to decorate their armor with. The girl that the hat fought was basically just wearing those plates, so she'd have a hard copy to work onto her armor. She went into that arena not to win a match or earn money, but to splatter her enemy's blood all over her. Our boy showing up was a confusing and humiliating mess for the Crimson Huers. What are the chances that we'll be facing them? Pukey asks. Pretty high. Not guaranteed, but higher than anything else. They claim not to hold grudges, but they've been known to offer discounts on going after targets that have frustrated them in the past. So, I've got some attention on us. Great, the hat groans. It gets worse, Bike remarks. Oh boy. They've got a customized type of melee weapon, something they use on all their edge toys. It's a modification to monomolecular blade weapons with how stupid sharp those are already. They found some way to modify the process and serrate monomolecular blades, somehow making them even more dangerous and much harder to break and capable of somehow shattering monomolecular blades on contact. To put things into proper context, a standard monomolecular blade is so sharp that you need your sheath lined with protective force fields or it will slice through it and likely take a leg off you, where serrated one, or a Huer as they're called, is even sharper. Mustard lets out a high-pitched whistle at that news. Sounds like a hell of a toy. If we have to fend off a pack of these women, then we should see about stealing one. Still, this seems like a sniper's problem. Sure, our bigger toys are a bit much for the station, but if they don't miss, we can easily deal with these kitty cats. If it was only them, you'd be right, Mustard. Tang and J3 are more than a match for the Crimson Huers, especially if we can lure them into a kill box. But they're not the only problem. Counter sniper? J3 asks. Maybe a whole team. I don't know. When some people have been causing personal offense to the gang lords, there's occasionally a strange sniping pattern. It's likely a team of two working in perfect unity. But there's at least one person on the station so skilled with sniping with both ablators and bangers that they can use both at once for trick shots. Video footage shows at best a distortion, so the sniper is cloaked when they take these shots, but from them always comes both the yellow plasma of a banger and the white beam of an ablator, simultaneously. Bike explains, bringing up an image of a beam of light and a streaking ball of power shooting through the air from nothingness. How good are these trick shots? Itchy asks. They get their targets around corners and cover. They pick out individuals in moving crowds after the beam and ball have passed through heavy traffic. These people are good, Bike explains. I think I'm in love. I wonder if a girl like that's got someone, Tang mutters. Probably. Stay focused, will ya? J3 asks, and Tang snorts. So, we've got a gang of heavily armored shock troops, at least one expert sniper, if not more. And what else? Pukey asks. A couple more. Miss Mirror is next, Bike says, bringing up a series of images showing people in fights with themselves. A highly skilled cloaken assassin whose MO appears to be to take the form of their victim and publicly murder them in their own shape. She was thought of as a serial killer for several years before people put it together that her victims were all people that had in some way cheated one of the gang lords. She's apparently what they send when they want an example made out of someone. So we're going to need passcodes now. Great, Pukey groans. Calling for help in our English ought to do it. Dong remarks. Maybe not. The hack, remember? Knowledge of English is out in the galaxy at large. There's no telling what she knows. Pukey counters, and there are concerned looks all around. We have a higher toxin resistance than most races. Everyone will be carrying 2 shots of tranquilizers, enough to make a human groggy but kill a cloaken. Can we get that balance? Mr. T asks. You'll have to ask the boss's girl. She's the medic, Bike remarks. Her name is Cindy, Pukey says in a somewhat testy tone. Bike holds up his hands in surrender. Okay, boss, just trying to keep things light in the face of all our bad news, Bike remarks. Implying there's more? I'm afraid so. 2 more fairly well-known mercenaries call the station home. Bike says before bringing up an image of what appears to be a dainty woman in a luxurious gown. Tiny horns poke out of her blonde hair, and she frankly looks like she hasn't the slightest business in octarine spin. Meet Sheay Marie, the pirate battle princess. The snorts around the table make Pukey scowl. He starts fiddling with his communicator and brings up an image of massive Amazonian women brutally slamming into each other and ripping the shell-like armor from one another's back. The impacts of fist to flesh are visceral enough that several of the men wince, and when one of them has her jaw dislocated and simply snaps it back into place, Pukey pauses the video. Those were the losers of a broken shell tournament, the contest where the grand champion and the grand champion alone earned the title of Battle Princess. The basic assumption with these women is that if you're not ready to take down a tank, then you don't have enough firepower. If you don't outnumber them 10-1, then you don't have enough people. Attacking with 5 or less is legally considered suicide even in civilized parts of the galaxy. If this Sheay Marie is an actual battle princess, then she's likely the most dangerous living thing on the station. Pukey explains to his surprised crew as Bike nods sagely. "Yay, that's the score," Bike says before bringing up pictures of the tiny woman holding the torn-apart pieces of an air truck over her head, crushing a plasma cannon between her delicately gloved hands and casually holding a very distressed-looking Nagasha by the neck in front of an open airlock. In general, she's more to be avoided than fought. Apparently the girl's prices are pretty high, but once she gets the money, then it's considered already done. But for the details, "Please tell me that's the worst of it," the Hat asks and then sighs as Bike shakes his head. "What next?" Bike wordlessly brings up a new image. "Bullshit," Airfarce protests as he beholds the black chitinous hide of the eyeless monster woman. "No shit. They're called the Zeden," Bike replies. "Yes, I know. They look like the aliens, but there are some differences. For instance, no acid for blood." Well, that's a relief. But a mind at least as intelligent as any one of us with a heavy propensity for traps. This girl is one of the major reasons that the Bio Barn is a hunter's paradise. So many girls are trying to be like their idol, Isma the huntress. Her tricks range from childish images of alien women being hit in the face with rakes or pies, to the psychotic. The newest images are of corpses smashed against hard surfaces or impaled on the branches of trees. Thankfully, she usually goes for non-lethal. She's the station's capture expert, and after the Crimson Huers who we've already bumped into, this is the person we're most likely to come up against. If any of the 8 gang lords want to talk to us or get our undivided attention, then they will hire her and she'll leave her playground and come for us. Is that all? There are a few up-and-comers, but nothing beyond some moderately skilled criminals and killers. There are some Foza audio adepts, but if they'll be part of anything... Bike shrugs at the end. "What's the likelihood of all these forces coming together against us at once?" Pukey asks, and Bike's eyebrows shoot up in shock. "Are you implying that you intend to piss off the gang lords that much?" Bike asks, and Pukey grins. "If we make ourselves into a massive pain, if we make it personal and rub it in their faces, we may very well be facing the octarine spin dream team of their elite shock troops in the Crimson Huers, their master snipers, Miss Mirror the expert infiltrator, Sheay Marie the one-woman army that is a battle princess, and Isma the huntress, a trap mistress, whose mind is basically a corkscrew of pain and humiliation. If they're working together, then it's nothing short of a nightmare scenario. They know the station, they've got supplies, they've got backup, and they've got years and years and years of training and experience. Our best option would be to cut and run. Otherwise, casualties are guaranteed. I don't intend for things to get that bad, but as the saying goes, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Gentlemen, I want plans from each of you. I'll bring up some of my own. I want ways to take down each of these opponents both individually and as a group. Furthermore, I want 2 sets of each type for a total of 4 plans each. The second type is, if they get the drop on us, how do we turn an ambush into an opportunity? Pukey orders and everyone begins to think.